The Year That Wasn't.
The segment that we're doing called The Year That Wasn't, it kind of focuses on the year gone by, the crazy year gone by, and the biggest kind of learnings from the year gone by with industry leaders. And Kabeer Biswas, as you might know, is of course the founder of Dunzo. But the fun part is he says that on his LinkedIn bio, he works at Dunzo. So that's the
You
nice part.
have to work at Dunzo to do anything else.
I like how you haven't changed the LinkedIn bio, man. That's nice. That's nice.
Chandrika doesn't like it, and nor does my team. But I'm like, boss, yeah, reality is this. This is what it is, right? Like the job doesn't get any fancier. It's just about making sure that stuff's happening.
Absolutely. So you work for Dunzo, and Dunzo works for everyone else. And especially during the pandemic, it became kind of like essential services. Literally, like that was crazy, right?
So we have always maintained that we are an essential service. What do we really do, right? We actually connect local merchants and users, and we have delivery partners who actually make sure that that connection goes through at a hyper fast level, right? That's as essential to a city as it comes. And that's really what our vision is also. Our vision is to go ahead and say that, hey, how can we change the cities that Dunzo functions in, and make sure that that everything that you want within your city is available instantly.
The fun part of this is initially when I used to tell people in other cities, like, hey, can you just Dunzo this, from here to there? I'm coming into your city. Like, I brought something for you. Just Dunzo it from my hotel, right? And they're like, what is Dunzo? And I'm like, we are the fortunate few in Bangalore who know what that is. It'll eventually come to you. But and for a lot of cities, that's kind of happened, right?
It is happening.
I was actually listening to your podcast with Varun Dugirala, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
And Varun's a ultra cool guy. But what I learned from that also is how business has evolved for you guys, in the sense that you want to get things faster to people. They shouldn't have to wait for a 1-day delivery, right? They shouldn't have to wait for a 7-day delivery. Everything is available at your local grocer, at your local shop, that in the click of a button should get it from there to you. And the nicest part is that means that the local ecosystem is going to be thriving.
Absolutely right. So our fundamental belief is that anything that you really are buying most often, is available within your city. At least the top 500,000 items that you want and that you could possibly want are available within your city.
Sure.
The structure of what you call online commerce today is slightly broken. What it does is it goes ahead and says that, hey, you place an order. This item's coming from some seller out there in the country, or it's kept in some fulfillment center outside the city, and then it will get shipped to you. I had this really fun story once that I remember where, and this was in Gurgaon, where somebody in Ambience Mall was sitting over there, and they were like, if you place an order from here right now for this item to get delivered in this mall, what is going to happen is in the next 6 hours time, somebody is going to come pick up this item, take it to a fulfillment center 50 kilometers outside the city. And next day, I will get the item back exactly at this location where I bought this item. And that just makes no sense, right? In a world where there is a mobile phone with everybody, you should be able to connect people with the items that exist close by to them. And what you really need is you need a delivery layer that allows to do that. So I promise you that you and me will live in a world in the next 5 years' time where most likely 1-day delivery is a passe. You will actually experience it for very few items. We'll most likely go ahead and experience 60-minute to what you call 90-minute deliveries for about 75 to 80% of your needs. And really,
at least the most essential stuff, at least.
Of the most essential things, right? And let's be honest, most of the things, people are not as innovative when they think they're buying stuff. Right. At the end of the day, everybody's buying the same set of items, and which is why it causes the head, right? It's the head of everything that you go to an e-commerce site, you see the same items.
I don't know why, but that feels like a personal attack.
No, it's a personal attack to me too, right? Because I also have nothing. Like once in a month might be something interesting. Other than that, it's just really boring stuff. Buying's it's not straight experiential.
Yeah. Although all this tech behind this entire thing that you kind of spoke about, the end thing is the end interaction that your user has is a delivery executive coming to the door and handing you your items and things like that. That off late, and without taking any names, seems to be a very tricky thing and a very dicey thing, especially with things that are going around. I'm not saying much. But my question is, really, with people like this, and you're working with a lot of different delivery execs, is there a lot of training that goes into how they deal with things? And they're all coming from very diverse backgrounds, so how do you kind of tackle that issue?
So there's a bunch of training that happens when they come online, right? I'll be honest, I think it's important to understand that these are human interactions and not every human interaction is exactly going to be the same. What you can
Sure.
do is you can train everybody for empathy,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So what we do is we try and train our delivery partners very early on for empathy. We
mm.
train our support systems to be very empathetic in nature.
Yeah,
We're also now trying the same thing with our users and our merchants. We're
I see that.
explaining to
I see that
them,
on the app, and you get stories
yes,
of yes, yeah,
correct.
yeah,
And I think we have based a lot of the way we build the product as well as what you call our interactions with our consumers and our merchants in,
mm,
I think, with empathy baked into the DNA of the organization.
sure,
Right. Though I'll be honest, it's not as if everything goes perfectly all the time,
absolutely,
and
yeah,
there are going to be cases that become corner cases. I
mm,
think over there also it comes down to exactly how people end up handling them. And I'll be honest, I think the ecosystem's actually gotten really, really sharp about how to handle them with a lot more care and
yeah,
empathy.
yeah,
In fact, in the last few months, whatever cases that we have heard, I think there is a fair amount of sense that at the end of the day, all of these people who are on the road and actually going ahead and doing these deliveries, let's be honest, then there aren't those many who have an ulterior motive, right?
yeah,
It
man. It's
is
and also it's a backbreaking job, if I'm being
tough
completely
job,
honest.
yeah.
And these guys are real rock stars, man. Like I've
Yeah.
had weird stories of what people have done, so and that's a cool thing. It's also I love how the word Dunzo has become like you say, you don't tell people to send it via a delivery app. You say, hey, just Dunzo it to me, which is also,
I
I
know.
know what you guys did consciously while you were setting up the name and things like that. But can I tell
I
you a
know.
super weird
I
story?
think the best decision in the last 4 years is to pick a name that could become a verb. Just
Let me tell you a weird story of a friend, okay, and what she done. So, I was telling this to your team, to Chandrika, right before this, and I have to tell you the story. This is great. So,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
this
of course.
friend. So I was in a musical doing a play, and there was this girl who had left her script at home for the day, and she's like, there was about an hour for the director to come, so she's like, oh, she's like losing it because the director was very strict. So what she did was she set up a task where the Dunzo guy came to her. This was initial days of Dunzo, okay, so I don't know if you guys still do this. So he gave her the key.
I think I know
Sorry.
what you're gonna say.
So she gave him the key. He went, not only opened the door, okay, she gave him the cupboard key. He's gone and opened the cupboard as well. And the script which he's left inside the cupboard, he had to get that, lock everything up, and then come. It happened, dude. It happened.
Yeah, it happens. I know. Okay, first disclosure: do not use the platform for this. It is not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Second, the idea really is that at the end of the day, it's convenience, right? You can go ahead and use it for whatever you think is the right way to do it. I've used it to pay at a restaurant because I forgot my wallet.
Okay.
Right? Like I forgot my wallet, and this is maybe 2 years back, right? Where what do you call phone pay, etc., wasn't really that, and Google Pay wasn't really as well accepted.
Sure.
And so I got a Dunzo delivery partner to come pay, and I was like, "Huh, go like another 20 bucks. What do you call? You'll go ahead and deliver and press delivered wherever you want to, right?"
Right.
And so that was amazing to imagine that that can actually end up happening, right?
You're
But yeah, I
giving
know
people
people.
ideas about what to do with the platform if they forget their wallet.
Huh, and I'll be honest, people end up using. See, at the end of the day, what can technology do, right? Technology can go ahead and empower you a set of use cases that we imagined. But
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, I think what users have imagined, and there is one thing that I want to be able to add because of that
Sure.
friend's use case that you just mentioned, right?
Sure.
Is see, I think we kept a lot of empathy and we kept a lot of what you call honesty and humility while building the brand and our conversations around it,
Mm.
which I think then organically got interpreted as trust by our users.
Right.
And so they took convenience and they took trust, and they have been able to, and it's been crazy to see what consumers are willing to do,
Yeah,
right?
man.
And
Yeah.
willing to give back if you're just wanting to be honest with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And like all of our growth in Bangalore has largely been what you call word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
And at this point in Bangalore, we'll have close to 1 million active users in a month, man. It's
Nice.
nuts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of it is word of mouth, and you can't believe as to what word of mouth can possibly do. And I think it came from the fact that we are wanting to just focus on the fact that we'll be really, really convenient for consumers, and we'll be honest while doing it, saying, in case something's going badly, we'll let you know. And this they went ahead and used that as a factor of trust when ending up using this using the product.
Yeah.
And today the number of examples that we end up hearing are crazy. There is this and I know we did a video around this, our marketing team did it,
Sure.
where a new what you call nursing mother basically goes ahead and sends breast milk from her office to her kid at home.
No, wait. This
uh,
actually happened.
she does it regularly. It's not a one time thing.
Wow.
She
Okay.
uses Dunzo to be able to send technically food for her kid, right?
Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, man, just it's some of the examples are goosebumpy. I'm like, thoda
Give me one
matlab,
more. That. Give me one more. That was really cool. I'd love to hear one more.
what else? Keys, all of this I've heard. Somebody, of course. Oh, fun one, right?
Huh.
Somebody's gone off to the airport. They have to reach for the flight, right? And they're running late
Right.
for an international flight, and they have forgotten the passport at home.
Oh God. Huh.
And so the passport reaches them at the time that they reach the airport. It's damn cool.
Phew. That's not bad at
It's
all,
damn
man.
cool. I'm like,
Unbelievable.
at the end of the day, if technology does not give you superpowers, then what the heck is technology doing?
True. Absolutely. Like,
Right.
I mean, imagine getting a guy to his flight, and then the best would be if that that person at the end would be like, listen, thank you, you saved my life, here's a free ticket to Amsterdam, go enjoy.
I recently had a very fun one, which is so I'm a huge IKEA customer. I love the
Huh.
brand,
Huh.
right?
Huh.
And so there is no Bangalore store, so you can't do
Yeah.
things around
Hyderabad
it.
is the
So
nearest.
Hyderabad is the nearest store, and so basically I figured out that the Hyderabad store has this pay and pick up option.
Okay.
So if you have small packages, not too much, right? Like 20 kgs odd, right?
Huh.
If it's
Huh.
like bigger than that, then the delivery partner won't be able to do it. But if
Huh.
it's about 20 kgs odd, you go ahead and you go ahead and pay online and say, okay, in this slot, I will pick it up,
Okay.
right? I did this recently. I got the stuff like last week.
I'm wondering where the
and,
hell this is going. Like, what have you
and,
done after
at,
this?
and at that time slot, sent a Dunzo partner over there.
Okay.
And the IKEA complex basically has courier people there.
Yeah.
So basically told him, say, okay, here you have to go show this piece of paper,
Huh.
right? Which is just digital. So it's a screenshot. So I've sent him the screenshot. You show him the
Okay.
screenshot. They give him the package, and then he takes the package and does the courier, which is right like about 20-25 meters away. And the
Wow.
item came in 4 days, man. In 4 days time it was here.
Super. Not bad at all, dude.
So
Again.
I actually have like, I think if you're not able to test the boundaries of a platform, then what real
Yeah.
use is it, right? I also
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
fun stories about other platforms. So, like for example, this is 7:30 in the morning,
Huh.
and my car needs a jump start,
Okay.
right?
No freaking
And
way. No, don't tell me you got jumper cables. Don't tell me you got jumper
no,
cables.
I didn't get jumper cable. So I used some online service to get a mechanic on the road, right? So the
Okay.
mechanic
Okay.
comes on the road, he looks at this and saying, "Case, I have cables, I don't have battery."
Huh.
So I was like, okay, but I was like, why have you come? Because without batteries, it's useless. So
Yeah.
he's like, okay, but I don't have. Now, what do you want to do? So what I did was I booked an Uber and said, this is this is the pickup point, and I put like a drop point somewhere like $250 away. The guy came. We used the jumper cables to be able to jumpstart the car from the Uber. The Uber went, and I also got my car. And the
Dude,
mechanic also won, and such.
this is a damn cool story, huh? Dude, this is a damn cool story. I've
If
never
you
thought of
don't
this.
use technology and if you don't push the boundaries, what is the use, right?
True, very
So,
true.
like for
Yeah.
example, my mom is staying with us because of the pandemic, and her doctor
Huh.
is in Bombay.
Huh.
Now he gives some medicines. It's not really regular medicines, and so
Right.
those medicines she goes and picks from him every 45 days. Right?
Right.
Now, she's been here for the last 4 5 months. So
Huh.
basically, now what am I doing is every 30 days I'm sending. So when the medicine is ready, transfer the money to him on Google Pay. Send a Dunzo partner that day. He picks it up and then couriers it
Couriers
from a
it.
blue dart, and it's here next day. Right?
Right.
So
Right.
you can use technology for a lot of things, and these are intra-city cases, right? Within the city also there are so many cases,
Now I'm
right? i
thinking.
know of I know
I'm
of
thinking.
people who have gone ahead and gifted their plus ones after having forgotten their what you call some special occasion, and it showed up in 20 minutes before the fight can pick up.
Dude, that's me.
Right.
That's
and
me.
and and it's not just, and so this is because early, right? Both the plus ones, right? So like both the spouses have done it, and both the items are showed up in 20 minutes time.
Now the only thing that's left is for you, say for example, like your mom scenario, right? Where she go picks up the doctor this thing, or like borders which are touching your IKEA thing, right? So the guy
Ah,
picks up something, comes to the border of Andhra Pradesh. Your Dunzo guy from here goes to this border to here. They exchange across the border and then come back.
okay, there are some taxation regulations, etc. Let's not get into this
Oh, okay,
conversation.
there is. Okay, cool. Okay, I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you about the biggest learning that you've had through the pandemic, man. Of course, you told me mad stories, but personally for you, what's the biggest learning that's kind of happened, or are you still
there's
always learning?
there's professionally and what do you call personally. I think
Both.
the personal one is I don't think we necessarily have enough gratitude for the amount of privilege that we all have.
Hmm,
Like
I agree.
just I as a generation we should have so much more gratitude.
Yeah,
Right. Like just imagine, right? Like the world has continued to function while it's come to a standstill.
yeah.
And we all have been fed. Nobody's dying of hunger in a very what you call top end of the. There are migrant workers, etc., that we don't think about, right?
Yeah,
So I think a lot of people are very privileged, and I think just I really hope that people are a lot more grateful after this,
yeah.
saying,
And they take
now
those
that
things
we
for
have seen
granted for
this so
sure.
close, yeah, now that we have
Yeah.
seen this so close, let's go ahead and have a little more gratitude.
Hmm,
Um, Professionally, I'll be honest. I think the biggest learning that I think we have always kept close, but I think
hmm,
moments like this make it very obvious, is
hmm.
so we are big believers of the fact that Dunzo wasn't actually a certain idea at the top. It was the whole idea of delivering convenience to our customers.
Right,
And so it's going to evolve as we go forward,
right.
right? And we want to build a multi-decade business, which means we want to be able to get to multiple cities, we want to get to multiple categories, we want to
Hmm,
make sure that for a second 5% of everything that moves in a city moves on Dunzo.
hmm,
Right.
hmm.
That's potentially what we could go ahead and do in a
Right.
scenario like that. What we need to be as a team is to be a lot more nimble to the idea of what our consumers want, what our segments want, and move
Hmm,
around that, right?
hmm.
And I think the biggest learning really has been is to go ahead and say that you just want to be able to. The only two things that an organization, or at least whatever this from the top, that you can do is to set right what you call vision and direction, and
Yeah,
then just have fantastic people come in what you call figure out what that
yeah,
means.
yeah,
And just like I'm amazed by the people that I get to work with at Dunzo.
yeah.
It's and during the pandemic it
You got a
was
very
just
young
most.
bunch, right? You got a very young bunch of people working with you. Extremely young.
I honestly, the idea is to be able to say, okay, it's a little bit of changing the world, and you need to be able to feel that. We also truly believe that it's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
if it was easy, then everybody would do it, and this is not going
Yeah,
to be easy. It shouldn't be easy, and we are more than happy for it not being easy.
right,
Right? It gives us a distinct advantage with our determination.
right.
And in a scenario like that, I think the team that we have at Dunzo is remarkable. It was my biggest learning as to how much this team can do during a crisis scenario like we had.
Hmm.
Right. And along with that, our delivery partners and merchants, one cannot thank them enough for being around and present
Correct,
while we are going
correct.
ahead and what you call making sure that we are trying to get stuff to consumers, and making sure that people are staying home and socially distanced.
The
So
the
that
fun part
really came through.
the fun part of what I was reading a book recently, and I just finished actually Atomic Habits by James Clear. I don't know
Of
if you.
course.
Yeah. So one of the lines that really appeals to me in that entire book is that you don't rise to the level of your potential, you fall to the level of your processes. Uh,
Yes.
that is like one of the best lines in the entire book. So, like you said at Dunzo, you're trying to set those processes right, right? Like I've seen the app at a very nascent stage, and I've also seen the app right now. So right now, when I book a task, and I did one this morning, I was just telling Chandrika, you have that little animation of a cute little Dunzo guy on a bike, going through, avoiding one pothole, flying with one bird and stuff like that. It's damn cute. So the idea is also to make the tech extremely appealing to the end user and stuff like that. And that's come a long way over the last couple of years, let's say from 2015. What is that a product of the fantastic team that you have only, or is that also feedback from the users to a large extent?
I think it all needs to work together. I don't think
Mhm.
any one thing singularly can deliver any of that, right? So it
Yeah.
is about the DNA of listening to users. It is about the DNA of being saying, we'll keep constantly building for empathy for all three sides of the platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to be able to be empathetic to users, partners, and merchants. It's not just one over
Sure.
the other,
Sure.
right? And lastly, what you call it's the idea of being able to say that the team actually constantly hears about this, and make sure that they go ahead and learn about it, and also have the culture and the DNA to be able to build on top of that. So it's not
Yeah.
really any one thing, right? I think,
Right.
which is why in the longest term, when people end up asking about what are moats in a business, I
Mm.
fundamentally think the moat is a DNA and a team. It never comes down to what product and business that you are a part of, right?
Right.
It's the DNA of the organization, and it's the teams that actually go run that DNA, that allows for everything else to happen around it.
So one of the few things that I noticed is that Dunzo is one of the few companies that have made profits during, say, the pandemic. For young entrepreneurs out there, what would be your little 2 cents to them from that perspective? Is it that you have to be in an industry and build a service that is almost essential and that stands that test of the pandemic, for example? Or is it a need to reinvent business model? What would be your number one advice to entrepreneurs out there, especially young ones, just about starting off?
I'm terrible at giving advice. Huh? Like, honest 2 cents. Just don't have much. Have personal experiences that I can tell you. The only one
Huh.
that I do know is that I think the idea that one starts off a business with, to the idea that actually goes ahead and what you call makes money, becomes very big, is most likely two different things,
Right.
right? There is a large process of discovery that ends up happening,
Hmm.
right? And I think so. We have gone through that process of discovery multiple times. We are willing to unlearn pretty much everything that we know today, to go
Sure.
ahead and say that what is the next level of growth that we can unlock for Dunzo, right? And in a scenario like that, I think wanting to constantly be challenged and wanting to learn, I think, is the only thing that one can bring to work. I
Fair
remember
enough.
once one of our what you call investors said this, and I keep it really close. He's like, and they're an early stage fund, so they see a lot of companies go through
Sure.
like the 0 to 1 process, right?
Sure.
Um, and and his one liner was that, hey, for a lot of companies that don't make it, at the other end of it is most likely a tired team,
Right. Right.
right? It's not the space, it's not competition, it's not money as much. Because let's be honest, money, some days you'll have a lot of capital, sometimes you won't have a lot of capital.
Correct.
You'll have to figure out which, because at the end of the day, you're not in and out in 3 4 years, no? You're most likely
Hmm.
building something for 20 25 years. So
Correct.
it's not a single line. So in which case, then capital is not really a good enough answer in terms of saying, like whether I got to other end or not, etc. It's important timing wise and all of those things in as to how big a business will get and all of that. But I think that line though is very, very close to my heart, saying,
Yeah.
oh, then basically if I don't give up, I don't lose.
Yeah.
Then we will not give up. We will keep pushing. We will have the determination and the resilience to make this happen.
I think it's a phenomenal note to actually end this, but I want to end with asking you a little bit of a rapid fire. So whatever comes to your mind first, just say it. All right. Ready? Here we go.
I'll try.
All right. Online shopping or going to the store?
Online, I will do everything. I will Dunzo it. Why even online?
I was waiting for you to say that. That's the only reason I asked this question. Cappuccino or chai or filter coffee?
So I did sales in life, so chai. But as I'm getting older, I'm trying to let go of milk, so black coffee,
Black coffee. Okay, cool. Cars or bikes? What kind of guy is Kabir?
cars.
Cars. Oh, cool.
I used to kart at some point. Love karting. Yeah.
Oh, really? You still do that, by the way?
It's not close by, man. Like the closest one is
Right.
Meko Kartopia, and it's not really like it's just like an effort to get there. The road to Meko Kartopia is really bad. Just
Right. I'm waiting for the day that I don't know. Dunzo delivery executives are on carts. Okay, cool. Bangalore or Bombay?
Bangalore, love the weather significantly more. I love the ocean in Bombay, but the weather and generally, like a lifestyle in Bangalore is just. I think it's something that now I've gotten. I love the city.
Unfortunately, that's the only thing we can brag about in the city. When it comes to roads, we don't have them. So don't know what you're talking about.
I don't get out. You done so.
Okay, by that extension, let me ask you: vada pav or vada?
What happened?
Oh, okay, interesting. The most adventurous sport you've ever played? Are you going to say karting?
Yeah. Like I used to do it when I was younger, and I've had some accidents also, not fun ones.
Oh, really?
My parents don't know about it. Let's not go there.
Okay, fill in the blanks, all right? Complete the sentence for me. The biggest part of the pandemic that was a learning for me was.
If I take 3 hours, I can clean a big house.
Live in a smaller house, man.
Why come to Bangalore then? I can live
Good
in
point.
Bombay.
Good point. Otherwise, you would have stayed in Bombay in a matchbox. That's true. Good point. Yeah, that's true. And last but not the least, did you learn to cook in the pandemic? And if so, what is the best dish that you make?
No, I didn't. I'm very much about saying I can survive. So I used to be really big at some point. I had put on a lot of weight and then I lost it. And so food's not that important a part of life anymore. So food is for sustenance. Food is not for as much enjoyment because I have a massive genes issue, sweet tooth, all of those things, which, if you were to give me the food, I will put on the weight. It's easy.
So by that logic, if I check your Dunzo order history, there must be corner house a lot over there, right?
Used to be, now no more. I've given up sugar.
Really? You're a changed man. What's going on?
As a Bengali and a Gujarati, mixed genes to give up sugar has not been easy.
Wow. Your family must be so proud.
Or not, but don't ask. If you don't want to know, why ask?
Dude, this has been ultra cool to chat with you, Kabeer. Thanks so much for your time.
It's really, really fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
This was so great, man. And we can't wait for everybody to hear this and to put this out there. And honestly, it's been a long overdue kind of thing of mine. And I've been telling your team as well, to touch base with you and kind of chat with you has always been something that I've been looking forward to. So thanks for this, man. Thank you.
No, thanks. Thanks a bunch for having us.
This was brought to you by HT Smartcast.
HT Smartcast.